What is your "we never speak of this again" story? Mine happened a couple years back. I was just minding my own business, going about my day, when I get a text from my dad. Of course, I read it since it's from my dad. The text reads, "Can there be Slava playing tonight's entertainment? I need you. Me and my sister once found a whip in their cupboard, so it's easy to put 2 and 2 together." 5 minutes later, the most sincere "oops" I have ever seen pops up on my screen. I never responded to that text and I have never brought it up. But we both know it happened. When my best buddy and I were still in high school, we decided to go up an old mountain road and do some underage drinking in his car. We were up there for a while and all of a sudden we see headlights behind us. Fearing it was a cop, we hid the beer and my friend looks over to me and said, "Just follow my lead." Turns out it was a cop. We rolled down the windows and he asked what we were up to this late at night up in the mountains. I'm sitting in the passenger seat freaking out, hoping he can't smell any of the beer. My friend looks over at the cop and in the calmest voice says, "It's our 2-year anniversary tonight and we were trying to get away from everything. Full stop. Full stop." He then reaches over, picks up my hand and kisses the back of it. The cop looked at us for another few seconds and told us to have a nice and safe night. Just another couple of gay boys enjoying themselves up in the mountains at 1 AM. My brother and I were very poor back in 2009. He was about 19. I was about 10. We were in poverty. SCRping by on quarters. One day, outside of Walmart, we found a McDonald's-esque salad container full of cheese fries. We ate every bite. Roommate told me to text him when I got home so we could smoke a cigarette. I thought that's f***ing dumb. He'll be able to clearly hear me coming home. So I knocked on his bedroom door and waltzed in, only to see him taking a dick pic or masturbating. I'm still not sure which. He jolted up and said something along the lines of "whoa hey," and I just said "UHHI," and then we went outside and smoked a cigarette. Whoa hey. Ah cute, how ah cute. My college roommate and I were in Italy. And we were lost at a small town train station where there's no English and no one spoke English at all. The way the train station is set up is that we have to take stairs underground and take stairs back up to cross the platform. We were trying to figure out which train to take and ended up going back and forth since we barely understood any Italian. After a few trips going up and down, we decided to just cross back and forth across the tracks. This was way before smartphones. So we were in the middle of the tracks while I used a compass to figure out which direction Florence was. Then we realized it was noisier than usual. Looked up and saw a train coming. In panic, we ran in front of the train to the platform across instead of backwards to safety. Realized we nearly won Darwin Awards. We agreed not to tell anyone about how dumb we were. There's so many dimensions where you two died. Walked in on a close family member masturbating in the living room. They saw that I saw. Immediately left to deal with something else. Came back and asked how their day had been. They said good thanks. How's your day going? Not so much, we never spoke of it again. But I've never spoken of it. In college. Skipped the day to play some COD. Got bored and decided to take matters into my own hands. My dorm room was on top floor, 4th, and the window blinds were open. As I was furiously taking out my frustrations, a window washer came up to the window on a suspended scaffold. We locked eyes for a second and he left my window and washed and slowly went back down. Steve, bring it down. Drunk and high back in high school, me and my buddy for some reason decided it would be a fun idea to steal the lawn chairs on someone's porch and then sit on them in the middle of the street and masturbate. We haven't spoken of it since. Reddit. Damn it, Reddit. My now ex-wife wants tea in her hand while we were driving down the interstate because it was too far to the closest bathroom. Edit. First off, thanks so much for the upvotes. To answer some questions for y'all. She held it in her hand for a few miles until we made it to a gas station. I offered several times to pull over so she could at least do it on the side of the road. But she refused. To this day, anytime I hear somebody say handish tea, that's all I can think about. Please tell me she flung it at another car. Growing up, we were poor. And as a teen I didn't really have access to PRN or whatnot. But I was quite a writer. So I would write exotic fiction as a release. In a spiral. Well, one day after writing a particularly sordid story, I kinda came to and realized I shouldn't leave that stuff around. I went to the kitchen, intending to throw the spiral away. Set it down. Got a drink. The phone rang. I answered. And left the spiral in the kitchen. Forgotten. An hour later my mother comes to me with the spiral and questions. I won't get into it, but she described how a lot of my stories wouldn't really ever happen and were a bit extreme. My dad found out how to stream videos from his phone to the TV. He's testing it out and 16-year-old me asks to have a go. I scroll randomly through all these untitled videos he has in his phone and click on one. The dirtiest, filthiest gangbang PRN pops up on the TV in front of both of us and I just had him the phone and walk out. Never spoke about this since. When I was around 12 years old, my family was on vacation somewhere. Sleeping arrangements. Me mom on one bed and brother dad on the other. Except my dad had this f***ing annoying habit of getting in bed and cuddling with mom in the morning. EWW. Anyways. One night, I had a very vivid dream. I dreamt that my period started and the blood was gushing. Like, holy FCK. There was so much blood, you guys. And in the dream, I was running to the toilet to try to contain the blood. Plot twist. Piss dream got the best of me. I woke up a few minutes later soaked in piss. I'm pretty sure my mom and dad felt it too. And my pajamas stank like piss for the rest of our trip. No one said anything about it. P.S. I am so sorry for any hotel cleaning people who have to deal with this stuff every day. So I am in high school and got trashed at a party. Somehow I made it home. In the middle of the night I drunkenly wander into my parents' bedroom. Sit on my dad's hamper and take a good long piss. My dad woke up in the middle of it and pushed me back into my room. I wake up in the morning and go to the living room and see dad. He starts cracking up and told me what happened. Said we won't tell anyone and to go upstairs and clean out his hamper. Ended up having to buy him a new hamper. My mom never said anything about it, so I have no idea if she knew. My dad passed away about 10 years ago. Since that time my mom told me a story about my dad getting drunk one night shortly after they were married and she woke up in the middle of the night to see him peeing in his hamper. Apparently, I am totally my father's daughter. And have still never told anyone about it. A girl at party got wasted and puked all over. After that everyone left except for a few of us to help take care of her. While she was vomiting into a bowl she began alternating between puking and farting. We all looked at each other and busted up laughing. This was high school, so we all agreed to never tell anyone. I was drinking vodka. And I had this guy pal that I was trying to bang. But he refused to bang a drunk girl while he was sober. I grabbed my phone and started looking for some action. No such luck. I eventually passed out and went to sleep. When I woke up the next morning, I read the texts I'd sent in absolute horror. Me. What are you doing? G. Getting ready for bed. You? Me. Drunk. Topless. And looking for some fun. G. Lol. Good luck. I'm going to bed. G happened to my boss who just started a few weeks ago. At the time Facebook would merge your friend's contact info into your address book. I never spoke of it again. And had a difficult time looking him in the eye. Boss seems like she took it well though. Could have gone worse. A friend and I got super high in his garage. We started talking about previous sexual conquests and we realized we each had an experience with our cousins early on in life. We looked at each other. Finished our session and promptly agreed that that was a secret we took to our grave. If you read the Reddit confession thread from 5 years ago, you'll see that about 90% of Reddit has done something with their cousin sibling parent. Oh, and the cum box. But seriously, so much incest. I walked in on my best friend and his sister's girlfriend f***ing like wild animals. I blurted out, "Oh, you are B," and left the room. We had a beer later. They are married now. My best friend and his sister's ex-girlfriend. His sister found greener pastures elsewhere. This is an instance where your is a lot funnier than your. Came home drunkenly with roommate. He did the whole naked man thing in his doorway, saying has been attracted to me blah blah. We fool around. I give him a hand job. He goes limp and I realize he has fallen asleep in my hands. It was so awkward I went and fell asleep in my own bed in the other room. Woke up. Never mentioned it. Nothing. He moved out the next week. I still cringe thinking about it. We're still friends though. Had a situation in 8th grade. There were a stack of papers on a projector. I'm old. For whatever reason, there was a mad dash to get them. And as I reached for one I overshot and grabbed a girl's tit. We both looked at each other knowingly and pretended like it never happened. Didn't need to even say anything. I was 10 and found my parents' condoms. Shudder. I was curious so I ripped open the new box to inspect. I then taped the box back shut. Like with scotch tape. I never spoke of it. My parents never spoke of it. But they sure as hell knew it was me. Either me or my sister. I hope they thought it was my sister. A close friend and I had just gone through breakups and were drinking a lot that week out of depression. One night we end up cuddling to a movie. Things get intimate. Hot. Passionate. Messy sex ensues all over a suede couch. We awoke in the morning and without speaking, grabbed cleaning supplies, scrubbed the hell out of the couch, then clothed ourselves and went to work. Since then we had a laugh about it but we agreed never to bring it up again. We remain great friends. My dad wanted to show me a video on YouTube. Pulled out his phone. Hit the YouTube app and in the search bar, huge white ass. He hurriedly hit the delete button. I told him next time to just Google the letters PAWG. Walked in on future mother-in-law while she was on the toilet taking a dump. She did attempt to address it shortly afterward but I managed to shut it down and we have never spoken of it since. Because that's how we do things in Britain. Edit. I now see the typo. FCK I'm leaving it. Ah, what an excellent and relevant typo. Edit. Changed autocorrect to typo because I myself had a relevant typo. Went round a fiend's flat a couple of years back. We had just arrived and he wanted to show me his new airsoft rifle that he kept in his bedroom wardrobe. We walk into his bedroom to find his girlfriend standing in front of the mirror on front of the wardrobe. Knickers round her ankles. Spreading her vagina like she lost something up there. Obviously she had not realized we had got back. That was an awkward trip to the cinema. My brother has the same name as one of our uncle's close friends. So he mistakenly calls my brother sometimes thinking it's his friend. He's currently in a very serious relationship and last weekend my brother got a call with him drunkenly saying, "I've got 2 girls who will help us out for $300. My brother told him wrong guy again. He stammered and hung up. We both agreed to not mention it to anyone. About 3 times I've gotten my father drunk enough to talk real about Vietnam. One time I sent my girlfriend a nude, but I accidentally sent it to her home phone. Apparently, any message sent to her home phone number gets redirected to her dad's cell phone. A few friends were hanging out at my cousin's house. My uncle came home and decided to kick us out. My cousin gets in a verbal altercation with my uncle. That ends with my cousin yelling, "I hope you die." My uncle died of a heart attack the next day. Throwaway because someone knows my real account. My best friend and I, both girls, had a wildly sloppy foursome. with her then boyfriend and his best friend. Copious amounts of liquor and other substances were involved. I had sex with the friend. She with her BF. But there was action involved with all parties in every direction besides. If any other story from that night ever comes up, it is solely referred to as that night, and we've never actually spoken about what happened besides. It's gotten a lot simpler now that they're broken up. Hugh. About 6 years ago, I was traveling around Europe with some buddies. We were with a tour group of about 20 people in Munich, drinking at a traditional beer hall. Buddy challenged me to a drinking competition to finish the steins we had just ordered. It was huge and ice cold. I won. It took me about 5 minutes. We didn't attempt chugging it or really drinking it super aggressively. So there I am, belly full of ice cold beer, bloated as all hell. I'm burping quietly in my mouth as the excessive amount of gas rises to the surface. Whoops. Not a burp. A decent amount of beer gets regurgitated into my mouth. Holding it in my mouth, I look around to see if anyone noticed. Given I'm at the end of the table, people aren't looking my way and are otherwise distracted. Except for Lynelle, a quiet and demure Canadian girl. Our eyes meet. My cheeks full with shame. Not breaking eye contact. I swallow my shame. I raise a finger to my mouth making the SHHHH signal. Her expression is somewhere between concern and disgust. And she returns to her conversation. I was 6. And we were moving. There was an electrical socket I had never seen before. I had a paper clip. It looked like it fit right in, and it did. I had a shock in my whole hand. But fortunately dropped the paperclip out of the light socket quickly enough so that nothing else happened. I went upstairs and told my mom that my hand felt funny after I'd stuck a paperclip in a socket. She told me never to tell my dad, because it had upset him to think that I could have been killed due to my own stupidity without his being there to protect me. I'm an only child. Was a sickly baby. And I'm still a daddy's girl thanks to that. It's been 30 years. And I still haven't told him. In 2003, the Paris Hilton tape was released. My friend and I were both trying without success to download it off our school's network. My friend comes over with his laptop and insists he's found it. It turns it on and it turns out to be Black Transul PRN. We watch what seems like forever but was probably 5 seconds before he closes the window, deletes the file, shuts the screen and leaves. Oh man. I've got a lot of these. Most recently though, my 3rd tandem skydive. The only one I haven't had recorded yet. Because I already jumped at that field. The main chute deployed wrong and had to be cut away. And the backup chute was tangled too. But thankfully the expert was able to untangle it and land us safely. My dad was watching from the ground, but thankfully had no clue how serious the situation was. I was 16 and extremely drunk at a friend's house party. I decided I was too drunk to stay awake, so I went to my friend's room and fell asleep. So from this point I don't remember hardly anything. It's all secondhand. I apparently walked out into the living room where everyone was still partying. In my drunken stupor I pulled peen. In front of God and the whole party. And pissed all over a fold up chair. Somebody of course asks what the FCK I'm doing, and all I seem to respond with is, I had to pee. Someone's in the bathroom. Everyone is yelling at me to go outside and I slightly remember waddling to the back of the house. Pants around my ankles. Dick blazing. I promptly stepped out of my pants and walked home. Waking up with sheer embarrassment, wondering it was a bad dream or real. It was real. Sorry for any errors. On mobile at the moment. At the end of the school year when my son was in 2nd grade, I went in to give his elderly female teacher a hug and ended up grabbing her ass. There was a moment of extreme awkwardness. Then a quick release. The next year and every year thereafter, the woman never made eye contact with me again. When I was in 2nd grade we were in gym class playing with jump ropes, seeing how many we could do in a minute. At the time we thought it was cool to wear baggy pants that were too big and my pants fell down, but when it happened I looked across the room and at the exact same time it happened to another kid. We both pull our pants up super fast and look at each other. Nobody laughed or said anything, so we assumed nobody else saw, and he put his finger to his mouth like he was making a sh sound. We've been best friends for 16 years now and we'll still make a sh sound to each other once in a while as an inside joke. Was having edibles with a friend and a girl he knew from college. He mentioned that he had some LSD and on a whim we all took a few tabs after having an edible each. At one point in the night, the girl, let's call her Kat, started shouting a guy's name and I for some reason started shouting a girl's name. In the twisted visuals of the trip, we thought we were said guy and girl and started to kiss. Kat already naked at this point as well. I'm not sure if we ever got as far as sex, but it was definitely heading that way. Until I vomited all over her stomach. Haven't had a conversation with the girl since. Awkward.